Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and I hope we're all looking forward to a wonderful week ahead. And in today's video, we're going to actually continue from the theme of the last week because there's a lot of developments that are going on with Bitcoin, both on the longer term time frame as well as the shorter term time frame. And we'll have a look at that. But before I begin, the usual polite reminder, please remember not to take anything in this video or any of my videos as financial advice. Please do your wider research before you make any investment decisions. All I'm doing is sharing my thoughts, my vision, my view, and my perspective of what I see in the charts. I'm not making any predictions because I don't know where Bitcoin is going to go tomorrow. I'm just looking at exactly the developments, and I'm hoping that you'll find some value in my perspective. But before I begin the micro and the macro analysis, I just want to share my thoughts on a positive note so that we can all get on the same page and look forward to a fantastic week ahead with a positive mindset. And that is that every morning, every day, my intention is always to spread some love, affection, and kindness to the world. And I'm always looking for an opportunity to give out any positive energy I can. Because let's face it, the world is lacking these qualities. So my first thought in the morning is always, how can I run the day that's ahead of me? Instead of letting the day run you, you have to make a proactive decision that you're going to run the day. So how do you run that day? So my first thoughts are always, so when I wake up, I basically say to myself, I have another 24 hours to make it another amazing day. And I make up my mind to try and enjoy all the ups and the downs that the day is going to bring me with a very positive attitude. Always remember that everything you're going to come across in life has a good side and a bad side. And it's your choice. You have the power to decide whether you're going to look at that thing in a positive way or a negative way. And some of the things that I decided about 25 years ago are still relevant to me today. So back then, I made a very conscious decision that I will never get angry and I will never blame others for what happens to me in terms of my success or lack of success. And that I will never complain. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make things happen for the better instead. So there it is. I'm just sharing you my kind of mindset every morning. So this is exactly what I think every morning. You know, you might find that quite hard to believe, but I truly believe I have an amazing life. I am possibly the most happiest person in the whole world that you have ever met. And there are 7.5 billion people out there, and I just happen to be the most happiest person. So there you have it. You have some insight into my thinking, and this is every single day, 7 days a week, every month, every year, for the past 25 years. And I can assure you, I have faced some of the most horrific tragedies, just like everybody else. And I'm going to begin today's analysis on the monthly chart and have a look at the 8 exponential moving average, which is the blue line weaving through the price action here. And as you can see quite clearly, for the last 3 months, including this month here, we are still below this line here. So there's no good news yet that we're making any attempts to get above it, because as you can see, we're very far away even on this candle. So we've had the 3 black crows here, which is a bearish sign and a continuation to the downside. That's what it would normally be representing. So while we had a respite last month with this green candle, it seems that we're now continuing the downside. So this chart tells me that there is much more pressure to the downside. And if you have a look at the 21 simple moving average, the yellow line here, you can see that we're just finding support at this level at around about the $37,000 mark here. Should we break this, it's not always doom and gloom, because the last time we did this was back here at the COVID-19 situation and we got bought back straight away. So it could happen again like that. But certainly it's not a good sign if we break this. So we need to keep our eye on this moving average as well. The prior time this broke out was back in the 2018 bear market, when we broke out from the $6,000 mark and then bottomed out at the 3,000. So there was a 50% fall there. So we certainly want to avoid that, but certainly need to be also aware that it is possible this can happen here. A quick look at the weekly chart, and the 21 weekly exponential moving average, the yellow line here, is the most important line on the chart for the weekly time frame. And as you can see, during a bull market, here is where we broke above it in April 2020. After the COVID situation down here. And since then, we never fell out of this until we'd topped off here, the first topping off at $64,000 mark. And then we chopped and changed here and then came back up to the 69, but since then we have fallen foul of it again. Now this normally doesn't happen in a bull market, as we know from previous histories. As you can see, the previous cycle, at no point did we fall out of it until we got the blow off top, and this is what clouded everybody's judgment over here. So until we get back above the 21, which is exactly around about the $43,000, $44,000 mark here, the trend seems to be wanting to continue downwards. The one sign I am waiting for is the 8 EMA, the 8 exponential moving average on the weekly time frame. As you can see, the price is coming continuously up against it and then getting rejected. We've had now the third rejection on this here. So before we can even get above the 21 weekly exponential moving average, we really need to make our way above this, and every attempt we're making, we're basically falling foul of it. So I find that the 8 EMA on the weekly chart is going to be a very critical moving average to keep your eye on. Once we get above that, will certainly be a sign that we can have a good rally to the upside. As you can see, the last time we broke up in this direction here was back in October 2020, and we had this big run here. And we've also had one big run there and another one there. You may have noticed that the weekly close this week was not a very bullish candle here. So what we've really got here is really quite a bearish development. And it closed at midnight last night. So we've had this downtrend in the last 3 months. And unfortunately, we've now got a very bearish candle development here. And if we have a look at what this means, if we have a look at the Bulkowski definition here, the theoretical performance of this is a bullish reversal. And I'll explain that in a second. However, the tested performance is a bearish continuation 65% of the time. And the overall performance rank is 6, which is quite high out of about 100. So what Bulkowski is saying is that there's a 65% chance that we have a continuation to the downside. However, there is a bullishness about this as well, in the sense that when you get this at the bottom of a trend, what it's really saying to us is that as the trend's been coming down, we had, this is a long wick, which means that there's a lot of buying pressure that came in at this point here, which pushed the price all the way up there. And while the bears pushed the price down, we cannot ignore the fact that a large number of bullish pressure came in at this point. So there's a large numbers of buyers around these levels who are prepared to push the price up. So we cannot ignore them, and that's why this is bullish as well. But as Bulkowski says, 65% to the downside. And everybody has to make up their own mind on that. Okay, on to the daily chart. I want to show you something quite interesting here. So please take a note of this, because it may determine what we're about to do at this point here. When we were coming down this trend here, we made a low here, and look at the bounce that we got. So when a market does that, it's trying to establish a bottom here. So we created a first bottom at this point. We obviously rose above, and then we came back and created a second bottom here and then bounced off that. So this seemed quite bullish, that we're now trying to establish a double bottom pattern here. And while we came back down here, it looked like there was an attempt to make another higher low here before we went to the upside. But as we know, this attempt failed, and we actually fell below this level here, and we went to the downside here, and then tried to create another low here for another reversal attempt, just like up here. And just like a second bottom, we created a second bottom here. And just like a third attempt, we're now having a third attempt here. And I think we just need to be aware that just like here, are we going to fall back below this level here? And that's why these two levels are now absolutely critical, these two here. This one's at 32,933, 32,900, and this one here is at 34,320. So as long as we don't break this, we have hope that we can make a turnaround and go to the upside. The first sign that we're going to do exactly the same as over here is going to be the break of this level here at 34,300 here. So keep your eye on this level. Very, very important. If we break through that, very high chances we're going to break through that, and then we're going to make a beeline for the lower prices. Currently, we're on our 4th day below the 8 EMA. So the trend, as we can see quite clearly, is to the downside here. And whenever we have fallen below the 8 EMA, we tend to spend quite a bit of time here with the odd attempt to get above it, but each time we fail, we tend to spend quite a bit of time below it, and here again, and here again, and recently here again. So it may well be we spend another week, maybe 2 more weeks below this level here. And the question is, will we break these 2 levels that I mentioned? The reason why my probability thinking is that 70% we're more than likely going to go and retest the $30,000 mark here is because if you look at the price action, there's always clues in the price action, and that is once we broke this key level here, 46,000, we've now had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts to get above this key level, and each time we've been pushed downwards. And if a price action isn't going to take the opportunity, if it's in a bull run, to get above this key level, then it's trying to leave clues that it wants to go in a different direction. It looks to me as though Bitcoin has blown its opportunity to get above these levels. But as we know with Bitcoin, it can easily turn around and go through these levels that I've drawn here, the 40,000 and then the 46,000, and surprise everybody. So we must always know that that is what it's capable of doing. But in the absence of that, the price action is saying quite clearly that we're on a downward trajectory here. So what I want to see really is for Bitcoin to get above this critical 46K level here. That's when I will jump back on board with Bitcoin. Until then, until I see a sign that we're reversing, I'm underweight in my positions, as I've mentioned in many of my previous videos. The second thing I'm looking at is a consolidation of the price action in the next few weeks, maybe even up to this trend line here, this diagonal trend line. As long as we can keep above these 2 levels here, I'm not really too concerned about where this price goes here. If we can manage that for about 2 weeks, that will tell me that there is a certain amount of reversal taking place in the marketplace here to go to the upside. And certainly a break of this diagonal trend line will be the first sign before the confirmation of the reversal at this point at 40,000. So a close above 40,000 after this break around here would be a very good sign that we are now on our way to the upside and that this dominant downtrend has finally come to an end. And the reason why I'm mostly out of the market is because this trend is just too strong to the downside, and I don't see anything that's changing that. And if we look at this channel, you can see quite clearly from this channel, this is the support line of the channel and this is the resistance point. And until we break this diagonal line first, it seems to me a very strong continuation down the same channel, maybe meeting up to this point down here at 20,000. And that's what I'm really worried about. And everybody has to make up their own mind as to where this goes. Nobody knows what's going to happen to Bitcoin. And anybody else who are doing YouTube videos, if they pretend that they know where the market's going or they're making wild predictions, well, good luck to them. Okay, so we'll leave it there. Thank you once again for watching. If you found value in my perspective, then please do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you've got any comments, questions or suggestions, then leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe and stay positive and have an amazing day today. Bye for now.